Those of you playing Star Citizen for the last month have been experiencing a new kind of mission chain for a new kind of global event called the Overdrive Initiative, the 5-part prelude to the return of a newly improved Xenothreat arriving in the upcoming Alpha 323. And so this week, we went to the folks who created it to discover their original intentions, to hear their reactions to how it's been going, and to get a look at what lies ahead for this and additional initiatives leading up to 4.0 and beyond.
Overdrive Initiative, codenamed Hex Penetrator, was an attempt for us to dip our toes into new events and quest chains for players to progress immediately or over a set amount of time.
We're a live service. We need to do things that increase engagement and get players playing together. So the Overdrive was our way of experimenting with some stuff that's most common in other MMOs and trying to see if it's a good fit for us.
It's a 5-phase mission that prepares the players for the Xenothreat event.
And it's one of the first times that we've actually kind of done a longer storyline across multiple contracts rather than just, here's just one.
So in this case, we try to release the new missions weekly, but depending on feedback and information data, we either shorten it a bit or take a bit longer.
And the idea is that we run it for a phase. It's somewhat grindable content that gets harder with each new one that you do, and it's all towards some sort of greater narrative.
It's more giving the players a deeper understanding of the lore of the game and prepare them in advance to the Xenothreat at the end of a long time mission quest chain.
So let's start with phase 1. So phase 1 was a data heist where the player had to go down and recover some data off of servers.
We gave it a bit of a narrative spin where the CDF has detected a lot of their security bunkers going offline or being taken over by Xenothreat soldiers, and they're recruiting any willing and able body.
And you have to go and infiltrate and capture the data to figure out what they're doing.
And keep the server room protected until the hacking is done.
We balanced this for all of the AI to be the tough part of it along with the servers, so the further up through the mission chain you got less time to recover each server and turn the cooling off.
Warning, security breach. Response.
And you had more AI coming to attack you.
One of the main key differences that I had the joy of implementing is we took some of the tech from Squadron over, where it's not just Xenothreat attacking you, but they're also putting a lot of pressure going into the server room. You might spot some of the Xenothreat people actually rushing down into the server room to try and check all the covers to see where you're at.
A lot of good feedback so far.
I think phase 1 went well. We did a lot of work on improving the AI.
Some people getting the intended experience that we have designed where the AI are reactive, where everything's working perfectly.
Some people have spotted some of the AI rushing to the server room and they were like, I didn't even know that AI can sprint at me. Like, is that new?
And other people who are, reporting the chip didn't insert or the AI aren't as reactive as we'd have liked. These are all things that we take down internally, and we look to improve constantly to better the experience in live.
People seem quite pleased with the new kind of flow of things and the AI being way more accurate and scary. More John Wick, less couch potato.
Depending on the number of players, it gets really tricky because there's a difficulty curve between the first time you try the mission till the last one. The first time is quite easy to get with 2-4 people, but since you get to the end, it gets really hard to achieve it.
I've seen people coming with 20 to 30 people just to raid that one bunker, which is, in my opinion, a bit of overkill, but it's really cool to see.
So phase 2 is then a bounty recovery mission.
where you have to go and find so many Xenothreat people.
The civil force detect that there is a Xenothreat target that has a decryption key that will allow us to discover information about the Xenothreat movement.
But it's encrypted, and the CDF has then located some high-value targets from Xenothreat, which are holding a decryption key. So you have to go out there, take them out, steal their encryption key.
Target destroyed.
And then bring it to one of the drop-off points.
Kill them, steal it, and deliver it. We can get more intel on what Xenothreat's planning next.
Target destroyed.
These missions used to exist way back when in the PU, but they were taken out because they were broken. So we made an effort to fix these up and then reuse them in this phase.
My main mission was to grab the bounty mission that we already have there and merge it with the delivery one, be sure like the decryption key was a spawner, and do that merge between both missions into one main mission style.
Try the cargo terminal.
The idea was these scale up and get more difficult as you go. But on release there was a bug which actually made some of them a little bit easier, as I have seen people and also had messages saying stuff like, hey, the Xenothreat Overdrive Initiative Phase 2's ace, and then 30 minutes later might have spoken a little bit prematurely, and then a massive wall about something that might be bugged. So thanks for that, Army Esports guy.
One of the more ridiculous things that I saw on Phase 2 is the hover bikes, people using 3 dragonflies to take down the hammerhead, which is just absolutely ridiculous.
I don't know what to say to that. Well done. We'll look to make the AI respond to dragonflies and actually like kill you, because there's no way you should be able to kill a hammerhead in that vehicle.
Congratulations. Target is destroyed.
I have contradictory feelings because it's like I put so much effort on this mission, and because of balance issue, you see these people taking the mission in a different way. But in the other side, it's fun to see the pro players that we have challenge themselves with our missions.
Phase 3 is Xenothreat being a bit more brazen. They realize that their setup has not been working so well, so they're just doing all-out incursions. They're popping up randomly around Stanton with a massive combat fleet.
The idea in normal MMOs is you turn up, you get entered into some sort of quest, and it's like, this thing's happening, you can engage with it, and if you leave the area, the quest is removed. The incursion is our first step into trying to do that with the current system we have.
It's a challenging thing that you will need to get collaboration between the different players to be able to tackle down those ships.
So the idea is you go to a location and there's lots of ships, and everyone, it's a server-wide event, so even if you've not done Phase 1 or Phase 2 of Overdrive, you can still do Phase 3. It won't skip your progress, you'll still have to complete the previous phases, but the idea of it's kind of this is happening right now in world for everybody. Everybody needs to get here and help us destroy all of these ships.
What's interesting to me there is that when we played it, it was quite difficult, and we needed to cooperate and stay coordinated to take down like the big amount of ships that needs to be killed.
So, as of recording this hasn't happened. What I expect to happen is that some lovely players will turn up in a bunch of dragonflies and just make it all look like so. Thanks in advance.
How does this make you feel?
I love dragonflies, I got one.
In Phase 4, we kind of split it into 2 subsections. So Phase 4 will have a section that is a com array, and then there's like a 4.A, which is Korea.
First phase is 3 com arrays back to back are being taken down by Xenothreat operatives.
And then you have to go in and stop them. And in the meantime, as you're doing so, be ready to face some ships.
They're guarding it, and you're tasked to reactivate the com array. When you do, they're throwing everything they got at you. and try to reconnect to the comm array.
Obviously, these are crucial to the functioning of the law and communications around the planet they get taken down from, so you need to repair them. We've added some fun little surprises and changes to them, so it's not just going to be your generic comm array run that people are used to.
And once the comm array is reactivated, the turrets come back online and help you in the fight. Apart from the comm array being guarded, it's also more focusing on the combat. We're throwing a lot of ships on you, as well as the Vanguard ships are hacking into the comm array while you're re-establishing the connection. So you need to focus your fire on those ships before targeting all of the escort ships.
Target destroyed.
So the idea is that some players would be dealing with the outside defenses and other players would be trying to actually get in there and sort of make sure the comm array is handled. After you've done enough of these, it turns out that it was all a red herring.
And actually, they're doing an all-out assault on Korea to wipe the entire criminal database and sow some chaos so they can plan something more sinister, which you're being tasked to all fly to Korea and take out the incursion of soldiers there. So Phase 5 is our events refractory period, just kind of cool off.
And the reason we do this is actually a sort of tried and true game design thing where if we keep giving you constant action, your dopamine levels are sky high and then stuff starts to get really boring. As such, people turning up in dragonflies to kill a hammerhead, clearly not enjoying this normal game.
So Phase 5 is a delivery mission where you have to go bring supplies to the jump point from Pyro to Stanton because you're aware the Xenothreat's about to raid you and you want to make sure you're prepared for that big battle.
So what we do is we have little respites where the action peaks down and then we'll peak it back up. And because Phase 6 is the whole Xenothreat event, which is a huge battle and it's going to be hopefully very difficult, we have a little bit of a respite. Not too much. When you do Phase 5 and you have to do these sort of delivery missions, there will be AI there to try and stop you. But it won't be as big as a battle as the previous phases that you would have seen.
Your parents know you go around shooting people?
The jump point itself isn't a whole lot different from any other station, aside from that it looks way cooler because, you know, we're building up. Welcome to Pyro soon. People will get to Pyro soon.
Landing complete.
But it's also just a very, very, very far way for you to go. Because you're always supplying to Pyro, you don't know where you're picking your supplies from, so it can either be a very quick jump or it can be a very short jump.
And now for Phase 6, Xenothreat, which you've all played, but we've made changes to it. We have updated the size of some of the boxes, so they're a bit more difficult to handle. You have to be more aware. Some of them will require a dedicated tractor beam. There's a new commodity that will help you out inside Phase 2 of Xenothreat, which is the protect and resupply of the Javelin. And then the Showdown has had a whole rework based on some feedback and some cool thoughts we had from the Capture the Idris event that we did. I'm not going to spoil any more of that, but stay tuned. Try to board it. So the Overdrive is our first sort of foray into quest missions in an MMO. Things that are meant to be repeatable, grindable, meant to encourage the community spirit and people to play together. This is the kind of direction we were starting to head in when it comes to these quest chain missions. This won't be the last one you see.
So what we're hoping to achieve with Overdrive Initiative is more quest change and mission linking, more in line with other MMOs that are on the market, which for a more enjoyable play experience instead of more disconnected modules, and give a bit of a narrative flow to it as well, to become more a game.
One thing I'd like people to appreciate is that when Chris himself and Rich asked us during some of the reviews as we were making the missions, they asked how the balancing went and if it was difficult. And both Elliot and I's response were, well, for us it's really, really difficult, but we are kind of terrible pilots anyway.
I saw players in the forums saying that they have now motivation to every Friday go back to the game and tackle the new mission.
For the development side, what we're trying to achieve with this is just new ways of making missions, make gameplay for players more fun.
We're constantly evolving and making the game better. Seeing feedback, we have our own internal thoughts of how we think it well. We've done our post-mortems, and we know how we're going to improve it for the next one. So from here on out, it's only going to get better and better, and we're going to see more and more quest chains come in.
So what did we learn this week? Well, we learned that the Overdrive Initiative has been a fun new addition to the persistent universe that touches an entire host of gameplay features for Star Citizen. That if there's one thing you can always count on, it's that the Star Citizens themselves are going to find emergent solutions to the challenges at hand. And that while this may be just the first gated mission chain for the persistent universe, it definitely won't be the last, as it sets the stage for a proper welcome to Pyro during our journey to 4.0 this summer. And if you haven't played the Overdrive Initiative yet, there's still time to play all 5 phases starting tomorrow and running until the release of Alpha 3.23. For Inside Star Citizen, I'm Jared Huckabee. Thanks for letting us share the process of game development with you, and we'll see you all here next week.
You have to explain hex penetrator.
So hex penetrator is an anagram for pre-Xenothreat, but we know that people data mine our source code. So I just came up with a random anagram that was very inappropriate. I didn't think it was going to last. And then unfortunately, once it was there, people all started referring in documentations like, oh, so the hex penetrator mission's this and like this and that. And I was like, well, I can't change it now. It's going to confuse everybody. So my lasting legacy in this company is a mission called Hex Penetrator.
How does Chris Roberts feel about this?
He laughed, then told us to change it, and we forgot. Oops. Sorry, Chris. Yeah.